Alright, quickly before we start, only 6% of you guys are subscribed, which is quite a bit. 94% not subscribed is quite a lot, so if you guys could remember to subscribe, it would help me a ton. You can always unsubscribe if you don't like it, but subscribing does really help me. But yeah, that's basically going to be it. Let's get into the video. Alright guys, we're back. In this video, I'm going to be talking about some of what I consider to be the most worth it helmets in Tarkov. So this video isn't necessarily going to be like the best helmets in Tarkov because you know, like a lot of helmets have really good stats, but they're also quite expensive. So I'm going to be talking about which helmets offer the best value for their price. But yeah, with that out of the way, let's get into the video. Alright, starting off pretty simple with the SSH. You can buy this helmet off the flea market for about, pretty much always under 20k. And it gives solid protection for anywhere from, early to early mid-game players. Has an armor class of 3 and a high ricochet chance and a max hit points of 30, and it reduces your turning speed and ergo a little bit, but overall this is a very solid helmet for its price. Once you're getting more experience and going against harder players, this might not be the helmet for you, but if you're just beginning and in the early game, this is a helmet that I always recommend picking up. Alright, next on our list is going to be the Alton. So I've talked about this helmet quite a bit on the channel before in at least like 2 or 3 videos, and if you've watched those, you know that I think it is a solid headgear. Obviously it's pretty cheap for what it does. Basically, is what I'm gonna say. It's about 90k for the anywhere from 90k to 100 for the main helmet, and only about 30 to 40k for the face shield, which overall is like 140 150k. At the most I found it as like 150k for a very solid helmet that you can see out of pretty clearly, and it covers your face. That is pretty solid for something that is only 150k, and that's why I think it is so good. It offers great value for a pretty cheap cost. Even if you're like mid game, 150k isn't that much, and for it to save your life, it could be very worth it. But yeah, I really do think the Alton is worth it, and if you're not using it already, I would definitely recommend checking it out. Alright, next on our list is going to be the U-Lock helmet. This is an armor class of 4 and an armor hit points of 38. And overall, this helmet is very worth it in my opinion. If we go to the flea market quickly, we can see it's anywhere from like 60 to 65k on average. That's pretty good for a black helmet, right? Making it like not very easy to see, not something like the SSH that's green, right? But yeah, so it's like a gray helmet, can keep you concealed, high ricochet chance, about 38 hit points, very good, and an armor class of 4, and it repairs fairly well. Overall, all around, it's a very solid helmet. For everything it offers, I do think it's worth the 60k. Now, it's not covering your face, but that also adds a ton of cash. So if you want to keep it slim and keep your cash low, the amount you have to spend, the U-Lock is a great option. It's not going to protect your face, but I think it's still a great option. And if you're looking for something cheap, but also like pretty good, like better than like something like the SSH, the U-Lock is definitely what you want to be looking at. Okay, so a step up from the U-Lock is, in my opinion, is going to be the Bastion. With an armor points of 40, a ricochet chance of high, and an armor class of 4, it's very similar to the U-Lock. Now, where it differs mostly is in its ability to have the Bastion helmet, the armor attached to it. So this armor has an armor class of 6, and it honestly can really protect you. It can stop quite a few bullets coming in from your head, which can save your life. Which is why I value this higher than even the U-Lock in some cases, because while the U-Lock is great, it doesn't offer extra gear like this, whereas this can be bought for pretty cheap, about 40k, which is even cheaper than the U-Lock. And then if you have extra money to spend, the additional armor for around 100k, sometimes more, sometimes less, can be super good and super beneficial, just overall saving you in a lot of scenarios. But yeah, that's gonna be it for this one. Now let's move on to the next one. Alright, last on our list is going to be the Exfil helmet. Now this one is definitely going to be a little bit more pricey, coming in at around 200k. If you have Peacekeeper, you can get it for a little bit cheaper, but it's 200k. Now this is a very expensive headgear, and a lot of people aren't going to be able to buy this. So why do I think it is worth it? Well, if we go look at the stats really quick, has an armor class of 4, a high ricochet chance, and an armor hit points of 45, which is overall very solid. But the main reason I like it is because the ability to add this face shield, which if we look has an armor cost of 3, a high ricochet chance, and an extra armor points of 45, making this helmet overall very durable. This can save you a ton. Like it can save you from face shots, back shots, basically everything. But unlike the Alton, it doesn't decrease hearing loss. So the Alton takes away some of your hearing and doesn't allow for a headset. This allows for a headset, and so basically you're essentially getting an Alton plus extra hearing, in fact, instead of losing hearing. But yeah, it is quite a bit more. Now, the face shield doesn't cost that much, coming in around 35k, but the helmet itself is going to cost, apologize. The helmet itself is going to cost quite a bit, so that's something you have to weigh in and think about, is it worth it? If you have quite a bit of money, this is always worth it, in my opinion, and I just think it's a very solid helmet overall. But it's something that you really have to like weigh your economic standing on, if you should buy it and if it's worth it. If you have a lot of money, I'd say go for it. And if you're on the lower side of cash, look at something like the Alton. It does this, but just for a cheaper cost with some negatives, but you're saving money. Alright guys, that's basically going to be it. This was definitely a shorter video, but I just wanted to give my thoughts on some of the helmets that I think are worth it. Now, there are quite a few that I didn't talk about. And some of those are going to be worth it. Some of those are, in my opinion, are not going to be worth it. But I think for the most part, the ones that I covered are the ones that I truly think are very solid in the game. Now, there are other helmets that are good. In my opinion, I don't see them comparing this as well. There are a ton of helmets that are very solid, but I just wanted to give a few examples of the ones that I really liked. But yeah, that's basically going to be it. If you enjoyed, feel free to like and subscribe. It's definitely appreciated. But yeah, that's basically going to be it. Thank you guys for watching.